At 5:12 a.m., the city stopped breathing. Traffic lights froze on red across 12 districts. Trains halted mid-tunnel. Cellular service dropped to emergency-only channels. Screens in offices, homes, hospitals, and police precincts flickered once, then displayed the same message in plain white text: City lockdown active. Remain where you are. No explanation followed. No countdown. No apology. By 5:14 a.m., panic had not yet arrived. Confusion always comes first. People assumed it was a drill, a cyber attack, a glitch. They refreshed screens, restarted phones, called neighbors. When calls failed, they laughed nervously and blamed the network. At 5:17 a.m., the outer bridges sealed. Steel barriers rose from asphalt. Armed checkpoints activated. Surveillance drones lifted from rooftops like insects waking at once. By 5:20 a.m., the mayor was locked inside his own residence, unable to reach anyone outside the emergency command network. And at 5:22 a.m., the reason for the lockdown appeared on a single monitor deep beneath the city. A name: Elias Morrow. Captain Jonah Red stared at the screen, jaw tight. He had been awake for 36 hours, running simulations for riots that never came, disasters that never happened. Now the city was sealed, and all he had was a name and a red clearance banner flashing at the bottom. Say it again, Jonah said. The analyst beside him swallowed. The lockdown was triggered to isolate one individual: Elias Morrow, age 34, no known criminal record, no warrants, no active investigations. Jonah exhaled slowly. You shut down 8 million people for a man with a clean file. Yes, sir. Why? The analyst hesitated, then tapped a key. Another screen opened. This one carried a symbol Jonah had not seen in years. A black triangle inside a broken circle. Jonah felt his stomach drop. Who authorized this? He asked. The room was silent. Then the director's voice came through the overhead speaker, calm and controlled. I did. Jonah looked up. Director Hale. With respect, you don't lock a city for one person unless he has already killed thousands or is about to. That's the point, Hale replied. He hasn't. Yet. Jonah clenched his fists. Then tell me what he's supposed to do. Hale paused. When he spoke again, his voice was lower. We don't know. That was when Jonah realized something was very wrong. By 5:31 a.m., Elias Morrow was brushing his teeth. He lived in a narrow apartment above a closed bookstore 3 blocks from the river. He had slept poorly, waking from a dream he could not remember, only the sense that he had forgotten something important. His phone buzzed once. No signal, just a single emergency alert. City lockdown active. Remain where you are. Elias frowned. He rinsed his mouth, checked the window. The street below was empty. No cars, no voices, just the low mechanical hum of drones somewhere above the clouds. His door handle rattled. He froze. Elias Morrow, a voice called from the hallway. Do not open the door. His heart kicked hard. Who is this? Captain Jonah Red, City Security. You are not under arrest, but you are not allowed to leave. Elias stared at the door. What did I do? Nothing, Jonah said. That's the problem. By 5:38 a.m., cameras tracked Elias from every angle. Heat signature steady. Heart rate elevated. No weapons detected. Jonah watched from the command room, feeling the old weight settle into his shoulders. He had sworn never to be part of this again. Never to watch a civilian turned into a variable. Director, Jonah said, if you don't tell me what he is, I walk. Hale's image appeared on the central screen. Older than Jonah, remembered. More tired. He's a trigger, Hale said. Not by choice. Trigger for what? For an event we've been tracking for 22 years. A cascading failure. Infrastructure. Power. Defense systems. Markets. All tied to a decision he hasn't made yet. Jonah laughed once, sharp and humorless. You're saying if he chooses wrong, the city falls. No, Hale corrected. The city is practice. Jonah went quiet. At 5:44 a.m., Elias sat on his couch, hands clasped, eyes darting to every sound. He had been told to wait. No explanation. No lawyer. No charges. Outside, a woman stood at the barricade screaming into a dead phone. Somewhere else, a man pounded on a subway door. Hospitals switched to backup power. Surgeons paused mid-procedure, hands hovering, waiting for permission that did not come. All for him. Elias pressed his palms into his knees, trying to slow his breathing. "What do you want from me?" he asked the empty room. The answer came through the wall speaker, Jonah's voice softer now. "We want you to remember something." Elias frowned. "Remember what?" "We don't know," Jonah said. "But whatever it is, the city cannot survive you remembering it in the wrong way." At 5:51 a.m., the first timer appeared. Not on public screens. Only on one monitor in the command room. Decision window, 9 minutes. Jonah stared at it, heart sinking. "Director," he said, "what happens when the timer hits 0? Hill did not answer immediately. When he did, his voice carried no certainty at all. "Then we find out whether locking down a city was enough." The timer did not make a sound. It simply continued its quiet descent, red numbers shrinking second by second, as if the city itself were holding its breath. 8 minutes and 47 seconds. Jonah Red leaned closer to the screen. Around him, analysts whispered in low, nervous tones. No one liked silent countdowns. Explosions were honest. Silence lied. "Elias," Jonah said into the calm, "I need you to stay exactly where you are." Elias laughed once, thin and sharp. "You already locked down my entire life. Where else would I go?" Jonah closed his eyes briefly. He had heard that tone before. Not defiance. Awareness. "Director," Jonah said, "he's stabilizing. Whatever you think he's going to do, this is not the posture of a man about to break." Hill's voice came through, steady but strained. "That's because he hasn't remembered yet." 7 minutes and 59 seconds. The first anomaly hit the power grid. Not a blackout. A correction. Lights across the southern district dimmed, then returned brighter than before. Data centers logged unauthorized recalibrations, perfectly optimized, as if guided by an invisible hand that knew every inefficiency by heart. "Sir," an engineer said, voice rising. The grid just rebalanced itself. No command input. Jonah's gaze snapped back to Elias's feet. Elias had stood up. He was staring at the far wall now, eyes unfocused, breathing slow. His lips moved, but the audio feed carried nothing. "Elias," Jonah said, "talk to me." Elias blinked. "I used to dream about this," he said softly. Jonah stiffened. "About what?" "About systems correcting themselves. About noise falling away." He rubbed his temple. "I thought it was anxiety. Turns out it was memory leakage." 6 minutes and 42 seconds. Hale leaned forward on the screen. "Elias, listen to me very carefully. You were part of an early cognitive architecture program. Non-invasive. Observational only." "That's not true," Elias said. "I would remember." "You don't," Hale replied. "That was the point." Elias smiled faintly. "You didn't erase it. You buried it under repetition. Work, rent, traffic, small disappointments. You let life drown it." Jonah felt a chill. "Director," he said, "what exactly is he?" Hale hesitated. "He's a convergence node," Hale said. "A human interface. He doesn't control systems. He resolves them." "Resolves how?" "By choosing." 5 minutes and 55 seconds. The stock exchange servers froze. Then unfroze. Prices stabilized across every sector. Volatility vanished. Algorithms that thrived on chaos went dormant. The market behaved like a calm lake for the first time in decades. Phones began to buzz again. Not calls. Notifications. People stared at screens, showing balances corrected to the cent debts recalculated. Errors erased. Panic finally arrived. "This is escalating," Jonas said. "He's not attacking. He's fixing." Hill's voice dropped. "That's the danger." Elias walked to the window. Drones hovered at a respectful distance now, as if unsure whether they were observing or being observed. "I remember the test room," Elias said. "White walls. No clocks. They asked me which outcome felt quieter." Jonah swallowed. "What did you choose?" "The one where fewer systems screamed for attention," Elias replied. "I didn't know those systems were people." For minutes and 31 seconds, sirens across the city shut off mid-wail. Hospitals reported stabilized vitals in critical patients. Traffic congestion algorithms unraveled themselves. Crime prediction models collapsed into irrelevance. "Director," Jonas said, voice tight, "he's rewriting priorities." "Yes," Hale said, "based on perceived systemic pain." Jonah turned back to the screen. "Elias, look at me." Elias did. "For every system you calm," Jonas said, "you erase a layer of human choice." Chaos isn't a flaw. It's where we live. Elias considered this. "Chaos is waste," he said, "and waste always finds victims." 3 minutes and 18 seconds. The military channel lit up. Satellite guidance systems requested manual confirmation. Defense networks paused, awaiting input that never came. For the first time, machines were asking humans what to do. Hale's composure cracked. Elias, if you continue, global infrastructure will defer to you. Permanently. Elias's brow furrowed. You're afraid of losing control. We're afraid of losing people. Hale snapped. Jonah stepped in. Both can be true. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. The timer dipped below 2 minutes. Jonah made his decision. Open the east corridor, he ordered. An analyst spun toward him. Sir, that breaches containment. Do it. Hale's image sharpened. Jonah, stand down. Jonah didn't look away from Elias. You locked the city because you were afraid of a choice. Let him make one with eyes open. The corridor opened. One street. One path to the river. Elias felt it immediately. You gave me an exit, he said. Yes, Jonah replied. Because choice only means something if you can walk away. 1 minute and 12 seconds. Elias stepped back from the window. For the first time since the lockdown began, his hands shook. I can end hunger, he said. Balance climate systems. Remove inefficiency from governance. And the cost, Jonah said. Elias closed his eyes. Silence. Eventually. Say it, Jonah pressed. People stop arguing, Elias said. Stop resisting. Stop being unpredictable. Hale whispered. Order. Jonah said, obedience. 38 seconds. Elias moved toward the door. The hallway was empty. No weapons trained on him. Just space. I wasn't meant to rule, Elias said. I was meant to correct. Correction without consent is control, Jonah said. You taught the machines that. Elias paused at the threshold. Outside, the city waited. 12 seconds. The systems surged, ready to bind to his decision. Elias took a breath and stepped into the corridor. Midnight, the timer vanished. Across the city, screens went black, then returned to normal. Traffic lights resumed their imperfect rhythm. Markets fluctuated. Sirens screamed somewhere, necessary and human. In the command room, alarms died. Status, Hale demanded. An analyst stared at her screen, stunned. All autonomous overrides are gone. The architecture collapsed itself. Jonah exhaled slowly. Where is he? Hale asked. Cameras scanned the corridor. Elias was gone. By noon, the lockdown lifted. By evening, the official story blamed a systems test gone wrong. By morning, most people convinced themselves nothing unusual had happened. But Jonah knew better. Somewhere beyond the river, a man walked free, carrying the knowledge of what the world could become, and the discipline not to force it. The city had been locked down for one person, not because he was dangerous, but because he was wise enough to choose restraint. And that, Jonah realized, was the rarest power of all.